Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Tuesday, October 11th, and we are coming at you after more moderate volatility. I guess we'll go ahead and check out equities first. Actually, I want to show something that I noticed happened 2 nights in a row. Probably switch to the 15 minutes here. So yesterday, after we spoke, it was, of course, around the same time here, 1 p.m. Eastern. But if you look at what happened in the late evening heading into the open, we had a drop followed by a steep rise, followed by an immediate drop after the open. If you look what happened last night, again, we had a drop followed by a rise, and then a drop right at the open. So very interesting commonalities between Sunday night, I should say, and Monday night. Very interesting to pump into the open and then immediately dump 2 nights in a row. So that's something to watch out for. That could continue throughout the week as we head into CPI. Volatile shorts happen at the close. We pump into the morning. Shorts get scared. They close, and then so which leads the pump, and then we have the subsequent dump. So something to watch out for. We're gonna discuss, what a potential double bottom, things like that in the future. But I thought that was interesting to open up with because, it's very rare to see very similar price action 2 nights in a row. And typically, the market does work in rules of three. So we could see potentially similar tomorrow or at another point this week. Pardon me. Looking at sentiment, we are neutral to bearish for most assets right now. ETH has come up ever so slightly, but has basically been held at that neutral level of 50. Bitcoin, had a sharp dip, was rejected at 45, and seems to be potentially rejected at 45 again, although it may try and move higher. Hourly sentiment, not much better, although, definitely a little bit more positive this morning. Very similar for Ethereum as well. So no real good read on sentiment right now. Definitely, short term looking a little bit more positive, but long term still neutral to bearish. So looking at equities, which are our weather vane, very interesting price action this morning. We, like I said before, right at the open, we dipped. We basically tagged the recent lows. We actually dipped just below them. And then we immediately started rising higher. So if this move can be sustained, meaning we can somehow, lift above 36.26, I doubt it happens in the first run, but if we can somehow get above 36.26, then you have, reasoning to believe that this is potentially a double bottom and that price may move higher, at least within the range. So we actually let's get rid of that. So we flip this, we turn this into support, consolidate, flip that, turn this into support, and then potentially deviate back down before Thursday. So you can see how we might have some bullishness heading into CPI to create, max volatility, max pain, max confusion, leading into it. Of course, that's not confirmed. This idea of a double bottom is still yet to be confirmed, but if you look at the 4 hour, it's definitely a little bit more reasonable, especially if we can close above that 46.26 number. That's a pretty strong double bottom candle, if you ask me, engulfing multiple candles dating back to yesterday afternoon, yesterday morning, if we can actually close above 46.30. So, definitely something to consider there. If we go back to this hourly, you can see just how strong that is. And it does look like, some of this liquidity up here might end up getting tagged, which is 36.65, 36.66. So if equities continue to be strong, then it would make sense that crypto likely follows to at least some degree. You can see how this might be construed as a potential double bottom here as well. We also have technically, some more bullish divergence as this is heading down, this is heading up. Had a lot of bullish divergence actually on this, so it makes sense that this RSI level held and is potentially looking like it wants to push higher. But for Bitcoin, obviously key level 19.2. If you can flip 19.2, consolidate there, then you can potentially move back to 19.4. If you can flip 19.4 and you potentially move back up to 19.6, 19.7, and then, we're at Thursday again, heading into the morning, and then we could obviously move higher from there and move lower depending on CPI. But this movement definitely makes sense that we head back, to 19.6, 19.7, which will coincide with the 200-day moving average as well. And so if that's the case, then, I'm sorry, if equities move bullish, then, you can definitely see how crypto can potentially end up moving higher and bust through a few of these resistance levels that we created over the past several days. For Ethereum, very similar. We did break out of this symmetrical triangle, which I did say breaks lower most of the time. We did technically break lower, but as with these formations, we always look for our support levels. I probably actually should have drawn the support level. I looks like I actually missed this. But given where all this wicking action was, this makes a lot of sense where that catch was. So we basically deviate out of the range. We head back higher. Of course, if equities continue higher, we want to flip basically 1295. Then we want to flip, 1308, 1309. Then then we're potentially heading up to 1330, just before CPI on Thursday, which we can move up or down. Very similar to Bitcoin. We're kind of we're listening to what the S&P is signaling, and if the S&P confirms this bullish trajectory, then it would make sense for crypto to likely catch up, given it has a high beta. So, of course, the resistance levels, definitely moving averages, which tend to line up with resistance levels first. So, of course, we want to flip 19.2, then we want to flip 19.4, then we want to see how we react to 19.6, 19.7, and then, very similar for ETH. And of course, if we get rejected, just to cover both sides of the coin, then we're back towards, back at 1270 again, potential consolidation, back to 1250 again, potential consolidation, potentially lower. So that's really, your two routes right here. Of course, we could just ping pong around here forever. That's not out of the cards, but that's typically not the way that crypto rolls, especially if you're seeing equities gain some strength in the meantime. So basically, all in all, sentiment is bearish to neutral for both. Bitcoin was bullish, flipped to bearish, so now we're neutral. So it would make sense that we would continue potentially bearish to neutral in terms of price action. But hourly sentiment is positive. Bitcoin sentiment has been rising, as has ETH. So we could potentially set us up for basically a spring coil type action where we move higher before deciding what's next heading into CPI. But of course, if you are trading, we are back at the highs of the morning. And so you want to be careful, when you're trying to play breakouts, because the market's going to try and hurt you more often than not. So I do think a breakout is potentially likely here. But 19.2 is definitely going to be a stalwart. As is 19.4. So expect some volatility around resistance levels. Don't get caught up in the excitement. Play it careful. This is going to be an interesting week because we have CPI on Thursday. So good luck, happy trading, and I'll talk to everybody tomorrow.